What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League Podcast. Back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got the co-host, Amanda. Amanda, a lot of great football during the holidays, and we're ready to talk about it all. We got Abe back on. It's good to have the crew together.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. We hope everyone enjoyed their Christmas. I just got back from Colorado. We recorded the last episode. I was just like in the basement of my father-in-law's house. So hope everyone had safe travels and great holiday season with their families. And we are so excited to get back into football.
Yeah, Abe, we hope you had a good Christmas, good New Year's, and, enjoyed all this good football, right?
Yeah. So we had preseason games this week, and we had some postseason games. I think that all the people talking about how some of the games don't need to be talked about. You watched, and that's what I lived when I was watching the highlights of some of the games. I was like, dude, we got two quarterbacks, two backups. Like
Yeah.
this ain't gonna really mean anything. But also, it's like a preseason game. You got two guys that could possibly play someplace else later. And it was just funny because I'm like, we're like at the end of the season, and these games really don't matter. I was thinking in my mind, like, hear me out. I always think stupid stuff, so I gotta tell it to y'all because y'all the smart, y'all the one that
Yeah.
know football more than I do. So instead of like the end of the year, you know how they give the worst team, they give the worst team like, you get the first pick automatically, right?
Mhm.
You got to do a losing playoffs just like you do like in regular, like if you ever been like in an AAU game or something like that, you have a loser bracket. So let's say the four worst teams, they have to play it out for who get the first pick. So the whoever wins that, they get the first pick. Whoever they play against gets the second pick, and the other three teams that whatever. Then that will give us as I guess fans something to do because if your
Something to
team
watch.
Chicago,
Yeah.
Chicago is
Mhm.
pretty much out.
Yeah.
And like you're gonna get the 1, 2, 3, or 4 picks. So let's take these four teams, match them up. So let's say you don't want to play Caleb Williams because that's your main guy. You play your backup, whatever. Y'all
Yeah.
play, beat this guy. Then the next two teams play. So you get you two more games of football, but it'll be for people who can't watch football because my team ain't playing, so I'm not watching. But it would be a nice highlight thing, and even how basketballers have the in season thing where they're playing
Mhm.
the championship don't really mean nothing, but it does for So you I think that would be kind of cool. I just thought about it. I'm venting, so I got to vent to y'all before I tell anybody else. But if it ever happens, John Abraham said it.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that. I also like
Yeah.
the idea of sending the worst team down to like the CFL for the year or the
Yeah.
XFL, sending
UFL.
them up. I think it's so
Yeah.
Awesome.
funny. Just like send them to a different league. But you mentioned the Bears, something that's so funny to me. So the NFC North has the best record of a division ever in NFL history.
Mm.
And that gif of or the meme of everyone like, I'm doing my part, I didn't do shit. That is the epitome of the Chicago. Like what y'all are bringing us down so hard. So
Well,
funny.
sell the team, then maybe we can get a fresh start.
There you
But
go. The other team.
yeah, I went from fire the OC, then it was fire the head coach, now it's fire the GM. Now it's just I've given up, sell the team, start over. Um,
Do you think the stadium's got bad vibes? Do you think would they just need to move on from Soldier Field and rebuild?
no, I love this Soldier Field. I think what's giving us bad vibes is the talk about trying to build a dome. I think that's the issue. The
That's fair.
Bears football is not played in the dome the same way Packers football should never be played in the dome.
Bills football? Hell no.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Browns are moving to a dome. Hashtag soft.
I'm so good at
Um,
that.
John, let's get into really, in my opinion, one of the most entertaining games of the weekend was Sunday Night Football, and it was the first ever primetime game with two rookie quarterbacks starting, going head to head, I believe, and it was a great matchup. We were all excited to see how Michael Penix would do. We've seen Jaden Daniels all season long be clutch as hell and be, offensive rookie of the year. But John, from your perspective, covering the Falcons, what did you think watching Michael Penix? He's brought a lot of excitement to this team that Cousins wasn't bringing.
You hit it dead on the head. He bringing excitement. As much as we liked Kurt at the beginning of the year, and we was hoping that Kurt could pull it off, and we was hoping we could see a healthy Kurt. We hope we could see like what we saw in Minnesota, what we saw in Washington. It just wasn't there. Whether it's the age, whether it's just a consistent, whether it's the new offense, it just didn't show up. I think with Penix, you have nothing to lose, even though they might not make the playoffs now because of the Tampa Bay situation. I think you do get to watch them now. That's why hence, I say the preseason again because you get two free games, well, three free games with this guy. You can see what he can do, and when he gets comfortable and when he gets to know his receivers, because he does a good job of placing it sometimes, but then you can tell he's still kind of in the college mode he need his guy to be wide ass open compared to forcing it in, because he got the receivers that can do it, but he just got to trust the receivers. I think even him throwing the pick last week, trying to force it in the Pitts catching it, and it flipped out. It's just a lot of stuff that it's kind of like when we were talking about a guy in Carolina. I told you, like, once he start giving the shit and just start focusing the ball, he start playing better. And I think it's the same thing with him. I think this next week could be a good challenge. I think it was a game that, like I think Amanda said, like it was needed. And every time me and Amanda seem like we go on Messenger and say something, the quarterback always throws a pick. So we got to watch how we talk. Because it's like we'll be like, oh, Penix is playing well. Shit. Oh, yeah. Don't shit. Like, so I'm like, every time, it's like literally every time we say something, they're throwing interceptions. But I think it was a good game for Atlanta, just to show that they can put up points. And I think I told Amanda this is the first game that they literally played offense and played points, because the last game was more defense.
Yeah. And I was making jokes about how it was a Christmas miracle, because we have questioned Atlanta's defense all season, but their defense was great. I mean, we had some really solid sacks. They're making some good plays. But the Penix thing, for a rookie in his, first big start like that in prime time, I was very impressed how the first possession was an interception, and he bounced back from that. He did not let them phase it it didn't bother him at all. Like, I see a lot of even veteran quarterbacks, the first play of the game is a safety or an interception or a quarterback fumble. It takes them a few possessions to get that out of their head, and he seemed to forget it right away.
I've always been impressed with that with Penix. Whether it was watching him at Indiana, at Washington, or now here in the NFL, he's very sure of himself. He's very confident in himself, and I think that bodes well for the future. And John, I mean, a solid game from Bijan Robinson with 2 touchdowns, 90 yards. Drake London goes over 100 yards on 7 catches, and Kyle Pitts gets involved in that big touchdown, Michael Penix to Pitts, that tied the game late. That was a great catch by Pitts. Maybe Penix can unlock Kyle Pitts and get him going. Yeah.
My biggest issue with this game, at the end of the game, it was tied 24-24. Atlanta got the ball back. They ran 20 seconds off the clock. They didn't use their timeout. And then just to end up missing a long 56-yard field goal because they ran out of time to get any closer. What in the Matt Eberflus was that?
It's everywhere in the NFL. I don't know what's going on, John. Why do none of these head coaches know how to manage the clock and end a game?
It's funny because it actually are first-year coaches. It's not, and I'm not trying to say it in a bad way, because they have experience in the NFL. But when you have pressure that you just like, okay, I've been doing this. Okay, I forgot. So it's a learning lesson just for these coaches too. I mean, we have coaches that we can say that, oh yeah, they're conditioned for this, but a lot of times you don't always have that sheet of paper to say this is the right time to do this is the right time, or you might think you're in a good place. And especially with kickers these days, man, like the playoffs, I think really going to decide who has the best kicker. I don't think it's going to come down to even watching the college game. I don't know what's going on in college. They're missing field goals left and right. I don't know if y'all watch the game, but I'm watching
we watched the game
Arizona State. Like, come on, Arizona State. Like, I'm like, Arizona State was kicking butt, and I don't even. But it's just like these kickers this year. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know what it is. I think after this year, they're going to have a big process on what's going on with kickers. Amanda's going to start her Kicker U, and she's going to have everybody come to Green Bay. And
well, we were joking during the game. I was like, I'm still good from 40. Like, I got this.
You told me. I'm like, this is terrible.
No, the game today, like watching Texas, that kicker missed 2 field goals. If Texas had lost that game, he would have got his ass beat afterwards. So I'm happy for them, because that kicker, he was in for a rough time if they hadn't pulled off that win in double OT.
Yeah, and we're gonna see, Will Reichert missed 2 kicks. Jake Moody missed an extra point or had one blocked. I mean,
boy.
So one quick thing on this game that cracks me up. So Atlanta, I know we've got some injuries, and we've always, we've focused on Bijan Robinson as their number 1 rusher, but the league is focused on him. So defenses tend to shut him down because he's their first option. So their total rushing was 126 yards. Jaden Daniels, 127 yards.
Wow.
So
He's a threat, though. He's a
if
major threat.
he is not rookie of the year, I will be completely shocked. Like he
Yeah.
put up such good numbers in this game. And like Atlanta covered bases in other ways. Obviously, they took it to overtime. But just like having this rookie quarterback throw for 200 yards, I think it was 196, and
Mhm.
rush for 127, like he's so good. And this was an ideal matchup for these teams. I mean, both teams showed up on all aspects of the ball. Special teams were fine. Both defenses showed up. So it was really nice to kind of see this like I guess, talent exhibition for them, just to kind of see what they have and what they're working with against each other.
Well, John, you're seeing it. There's a ton of great talent that came in this year. I mean, of course, Jaden Daniels should win this one easily, the Offensive Rookie of the Year. But we got Brock Bowers breaking records, for tight ends, rookie tight ends, franchise catches for the Raiders. You've got Malik Neighbors setting records. Like these guys, this is truly a great year for rookies. Penix looks good. Caleb Williams looks good. So I can't wait to see these guys. The league is in great hands. Would you agree with that, John?
Well, I think Brock Bowers is probably the best player right now. I mean, just
Yes.
simply,
Mm-hmm.
simply just saying coming in the league and fit in naturally, especially being on a bad team, to be able to be the best
Yeah.
player on that team, like by far, like watching the game and watching him, like he seems like he's been literally playing. I mean, breaking Mike Dick record, he
Yeah.
doing things that are he might not ever do again. Like this is his
Yeah.
rookie year. I can't see him he might not be having these numbers again, but I think his rookie
Yeah.
showed his ass. And all you can think about, dang, is it gonna get better? I'm like, man, but those numbers are some stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got
I
Ladd
just
McConkey over in LA.
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Amanda. Sorry.
I've just been flabbergasted by how well these rookies have played this season. Like Brock Bauer especially, like he came into a bad team. Like he is the bright spot in that locker room. Like just walking in, like he seems so comfortable. And we've talked about other players being comfortable, like Bo Nix. You and I have made jokes about him. Like he seems like he's been here before. Yeah, he was in college for
Mm-hmm.
20 years. So like it makes
Yeah.
sense. With some of
Yeah.
these players, I just read in my notes that I forgot to mention. So Jaden Daniels had the most rushing yards of any quarterback in a game this season. Like for
Uh,
a rookie to do that. And like obviously we have other quarterbacks who are veterans breaking other records. Like Aaron Rodgers is the most sacked quarterback of all time. So,
there you go.
good for him. But this rookie class is ridiculous, and I'm really excited to see like how that plays going forward. Like as their quarterback situations get figured out in Las Vegas, and like it's yeah, I'm just intrigued to see how it's gonna play down because last year's rookie class is still ridiculously good too.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick, I wanted to run this by you guys because I tweeted about this today. And John, I want to get your take on this. A lot of people I've seen, they look at like Ben Johnson, for example, with the Lions and what he's doing and how he's such a great play caller and he's got that Lions offense just rolling. But in my opinion, we talked about the situational clock management and leading the locker room and all that. I think a lot of people they get too caught up in the play calling aspect and don't fully like it takes a lot more than just a great play caller to be a head coach. There's a reason why there's a ton of great coordinators and very few elite head coaches, right?
Yeah, I think people forget it's about. I think Mike Vick said it good. I gotta sit here and lead men, and I think
Yeah.
people get that perspective out of it. It ain't all about play calling. If you look at Mike Thompson, a guy that can, literally be a player's coach. A lot of guys
Mm-hmm.
have that. So if you don't have a team, and if you have a team and they don't want to play behind the guy, or if they don't respect like what he says or something, like if I was to tell Amanda to go jump off this building, she'd be like, hell no. But if she had confidence that I said, you jump off this building, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and I have proof that this will be okay, she'd be like,
Yeah.
all right, I believe you. So the players are the same way. If you tell me that, well, we want you to do this, and then you just go over here. But if you have somebody that can tell you, like, this is going to happen, I promise you, you do this, we're going to win, we're going to do this, and you show that it happens, it's different, And like I said, even with younger coaches that they come in, they forget about that aspect of the game that, you still need to be able to talk to players to make them think they can run through a wall like Campbell. Like those players in Detroit believe in him. He can tell
Yeah.
them anything to
I
do.
would run into a wall for Dan Campbell.
Exactly. You can tell, and that's the kind of thing that you need in the coach. When I was in University of South Carolina, even though we didn't win a game my senior year, I never really knew Lou Holtz. But when Lou Holtz came out, I knew his name. But
Mm-hmm.
whatever he told me, like it was just like, okay, I'm doing it.
Mhm.
That's how I can tell the difference. This guy's only about 5'1", 5'2", maybe 100 pounds, but it's what he says and how he says it, his demeanor. He has the proof to show it. So that's a lot
Yeah.
of things. These coaches sometimes, you go from an OC, you forget that you got defense, offense, you got the whole squad that just looking at you. So some people don't have the personality for that also.
Yeah. Amanda, you can have a locker room behind you. Eberflus was building a really good defense. They liked him, but he mismanages the clock at the end of the Commanders game and at the end of the Lions game, and his defense gave up on him just like that. It's about
Yeah.
trust too, and
You saw
you
the
got to prove
shift.
it. Yeah. So
But I mean, we talked about Dan Campbell a little bit. I kind of want to talk about this Monday Night Football game. So obviously everyone kind of expected the Lions to win. They're 13-2. Their outcome didn't really matter. But these 49ers really showed up. Like they attempted to come back at the end. They kind of stayed in it the
yeah.
whole game. I am so intrigued by this 49ers team because you look at like this was the hospital ward game. Like it highlights the differences between teams that can handle injuries and teams that can't. The Lions have 19 players on IR, $52 million in cap space on IR right now. The 49ers have 14, $36 million in cap space, just chilling on IR. And you see how well the Lions, I mean, when the Lions played the Packers, they had, I think, 16 players on IR. They were bringing in men off the street. Like literally they had open tryouts and stuff. And
Mhm.
they handle their depth and bringing in and next man up so well there versus how other teams take it. Like in the beginning of the season, the Packers were missing Jair Alexander. They would lose the game, like one player. So I really like what Dan Campbell is doing there and just getting the best out of all of the second, third, fourth string players that they've had to turn to. But this 49ers team looked really good. But have you guys noticed either they go to the NFC Championship game or they miss the playoffs?
That's
There's
interesting.
the
Yeah.
last 22 years, either no playoffs or an NFC Championship game or Super Bowl.
Wow.
It's so
That's
weird.
wild.
Literally
Yeah.
all or nothing.
That's crazy. And then yeah, sticking with that, I mean, let's talk about like Vikings Packers, Amanda, your game where you talk about Jair Alexander and no Quay Walker in this game, and you said on the picks that you're like, well, screw those guys anyways, like, they're kind of
Yeah,
bringing
they
us
can go.
down.
Well,
Yeah,
Jair Alexander had surgery today. Season
yeah,
ending. He's addressing his issues. And some people are upset about it. They're like, why? Why are we doing it now? Like, why didn't we do it sooner so he could be back? I don't think he's going to be in Green Bay next season. Like, it doesn't
yeah.
matter when he does it. Like, he has missed so much of this season at this point. Like, we're good without him. This game was weird to me. So early in the season, we were missing our best defensive player. We lost by 2 points to Minnesota. It was fine. We lost by 2 points again to Minnesota. I feel like there was no way the refs were not doing the week 18 NFC showdown between the Lions and the Vikings with the same
Yeah.
record. It that offsides that they called to give the Vikings the field goal, nobody was offsides. I have zoomed in at the picture from every angle. Like
Yeah,
you
it
can see
was
where
a
the ball
straight
there
line.
it was a straight line. No one was offsides. In in their defense though, like this week 18 matchup is what I wanted. Like as a football fan, that's amazing. Like to decide like the outcome of the entire NFC and like the order in the final game of the season, like that's fucking amazing. But as long as the Packers are still in the postseason, it's fine. But if this game had cost the Packers the postseason, I know I would be very different right now. So it's cool. I don't care, six,
John,
seven seed, whatever.
John, what do you think of these? So twice now the Packers have gotten in a big hole to the Vikings and had to climb out of it. And they come back and they make it interesting late, but it's not enough. How do you see this game? Do you trust this Vikings team to go on a deep playoff run, or how do you see them?
Addison, Jefferson, and Naylor, man. I'm saying the stuff that Darnold has is things that quarterbacks pray for. I mean,
Mhm.
just watch
Mhm.
the game and
Weapons.
yes, and I mean like legitimate weapons. Like if they're going to double Jefferson, Addison can make an incredible kick. And I seen Naylor play this week probably better than I seen him play all year. And he played.
Yeah,
And this is not one of these preseason games. These are one of these games that everybody wanted to see. I think Green Bay didn't play as well as I thought. If you look at the score, it looked like it was a really close game. But
Yeah.
Minnesota, I think, just was a better team. I think their
yeah.
defense
Green
Well,
Bay only had a field goal for the first 2.5 quarters.
yeah,
Mhm.
And I've talked shit about them doing this all season. They have been a second half team, and I don't know why. Like almost every week, I'm bitching about how they do nothing in the first half. And I am used to, historically, like Aaron Rodgers putting up 40 points in a game and like just being ahead and being comfortable.
Well,
Every
quick
every time we
starts.
win, we
Yeah.
almost every week it's a second half comeback, and I fucking hate it. I'm
That
not.
to me that points to coaching. If you're constantly starting out slow, that's got to be something coaching wise. But yeah, John, you mentioned it. I mean, on top of that, T.J. Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, they trade for Cam Akers, and he had some
He
big
showed up in
plays.
this game.
Yeah.
He had an amazing
Um,
game.
yeah.
to me, I was tweeting, or I went back and forth with Reggie Ragland, former Bama linebacker, former Chief, and he talked about why the hell are the Packers not defending the back on the flat at the end of the game? They needed one stop. If they could have forced a punt, the Packers would have had a shot to go win it. They allowed C.J. Ham to be wide open on the flat, and then they allowed Cam Akers to be wide open. No one even covered it. I don't really understand that. I'm not a big Jeff Hafley fan, the Packers defensive coordinator. He hasn't really, impressed me.
I think our defense was playing better when homeboy from New York came and hung out for a few weeks. I think that
Yeah.
was really good for us. So I'm curious to see what happens with official titles and stuff in the offseason for the defense.
But Edgerrin Cooper is a baller, the rookie linebacker.
So good.
Yeah.
But Sam Darnold looked really good. I'm glad he found a shot here in Minnesota. And I mean that catch with Cam Akers falling in the end when he was that you just mentioned, like Cam Akers
Yeah.
holding on to that was amazing. Like we would
hmm
have seen half of the receivers elsewhere drop that. But it was a great game for them. I'm really excited about next week's matchup with Detroit. It's gonna be
Me
so good.
too. John, how are you seeing that matchup? Vikings at Lions, and it's a big difference between the 1 seed and home field and a first round bye as opposed to the 5 seed where you go on the road, you play right away, and you play a tough team, whether it's Tampa Bay or the Rams or the
This is
Falcons.
I mean, this is what football is about. This is what we waited for the whole year. I mean, like the end of the year, like you said, we're only going to be talking about a couple of games now because most of the games that played, like the Jacksonville Titan game, nobody give a damn about that. We
Yeah.
games like this, and for to have the season prepared how they do now, because back in the day, you didn't play the people in your division at the end of the year. You might play some slouch team, and then people wouldn't play their guys. But now, like Amanda said, these are the games that people want to see now. Like people are like, oh yeah, even if it doesn't really matter, you're still seeing people in their division playing against each other. So you see a lot of rivalry games, and I think that this is going to show which team is really playoff ready. I mean, with
Yeah.
injuries, and the Vikings, they're pretty stacked. So let's see if Detroit can take a punch from the Vikings. I think the playoffs are going to look a lot more simpler for them. If that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you think, Amanda? I mean, with all the injuries, I think the Vikings can get that win and steal the 1 seed. And for the Lions, does that take a lot of air out of their sails with all the injuries, losing the 1 seed, having to go on the road in the playoffs? Does that affect them? I know they'll run through a wall for Dan Campbell, but at some point it's gonna, can they overcome it all?
I do think Detroit's schedule has put them in a place where they're ready to face the Vikings more so than the Vikings schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Vikings, I mean, I know there are only three teams different this season on their schedule, but those three teams have a difference of so many wins.
Yeah.
So I think that Detroit might be a little more ready as far as like having the history of the season of playing those good teams. But they are very injured. So I don't know who I'm picking in this one when they play next week, but I mean, the Vikings are on 9 straight wins. Like it's their second longest streak ever. Since in 1975, they won 10 straight. And the 14 wins of this season are the second most in team history. Like, so this team is different. They're unique. They're fun. These
Yeah.
touchdown celebrations, I haven't had more fun watching a team kick my team's ass in a long time. Like they did freaking High School Musical after scoring a touchdown, and I was like dancing with them and like, ew, what am I doing? Stop it! Like, they're fun. Like, it's hard not to root for them.
I'm so flabbergasted. These are two quarterbacks that I thought were terrible. And here they are with
I still
14
need to make
win
you a Goff
teams.
his ass shirt for when he wins the Super Bowl.
And I believe this is the first time ever we've had two 14 teams playing against each other in the regular season. So
Yeah,
This is crazy.
It'll be the first time in NFL history that a 14-win team has not won their division.
Yeah, and we'll have to go on the road. So wild times. But I can't wait, and it's going to be a great game on Sunday night. Great capper for the regular season. It's been a hell of a regular season. I can't believe we're coming down to week 18, playoffs right around the corner. In the AFC, so there's a chance the Dolphins and the Bengals are hanging by a thread, trying to sneak in if the Broncos lose. How do you see the end of this, John? I think we all want the Broncos to make it because they're like they got the best defense, but the Bengals are showing a lot. They beat the Broncos.
Yeah, they're trying now. I feel like in the first part of the season they had a rough start, but
so you start 0-4. Yeah.
Joe Burrow's got his swag back. Like they seem like they're going for it. So if Miami sneaks in, I'm gonna be pissed. Like nobody wants to be
I don't think they will.
With Tyler Huntley / Dorian Thompson. Like nobody wants Miami. Nobody wants that.
John, would you be scared if the Bengals are coming in red hot with all those weapons on offense?
Exactly what I was thinking when I was watching the film today. I was like, Joe Burrow is being Joe Burrow finally. Because, the beginning of the year, he was kind of, like I said, you didn't see the passion now. If you look at the games and watch when they're losing or winning, you don't see the passion. He scored a touchdown, got up and did the gritty. I'm like, that is what you need. That's you see he is in now. Him and Ja'Marr Chase are playing well. Higgins is playing well. And the team I saw watching this team this week, I see a playoff team. I see the Super Bowl team. I see the team that I'm scared of. Like watching them, I didn't feel at no point in that game, even though it was a close game, I didn't feel at no point in that game they were going to lose that game. Like because Joe, it was just the passion I seen from Joe finally. Like beginning of the year, it was. I guess after he got his house broken into, something shook him. Like, hey, I got to get my ass back into football. Like whoever, because whoever they must be took all the bullshit that he didn't need in his house. Yeah, and I don't know, but. Like watching him play, this is what the Joe Burrow I want to see for the rest of his career. I don't want to see, everybody, okay, he's cool, Joe, and all this shit. Fuck all that. You show the passion, like as a quarterback of this team. And I think if you just take off the Cincinnati and put on him, put a different team, and maybe they'll win more because it just Cincinnati just have that, evilness to it. But this is what I want to see from Joe Burrow. And I was thinking this the whole time before y'all even said it, that this is the team I'm scared of. Like this is the team that we want to see.
This is who Joe Burrow is supposed to be.
This is a playoff. This is the team that we want to see. They're not an 8-8 team, but I'm like, dude, like they don't look like an 8-8 team, and they look very confident. And if you think about it, if they didn't have that drop touchdown from Ja'Marr Chase that he doesn't drop, this game wouldn't even been close. I mean, and I'm saying that because one touchdown can be a big difference between how the rest of the goes, and they didn't even score anything on that drive. So, but this is what I want to see. Like this is what I want to see from Cincinnati. Like, and I don't want to have to wait fucking 16 weeks.
To see it again. So my question is, who do you think has a better shot of winning this weekend? We've got Denver at home with the banged up Chiefs coming to town who are playing a little bit better, or the Bengals going into Pittsburgh.
If the Bengals play. Like I said, it's all on Joe. It's
been all on him all season. Like you look at their record early on and how many games they dropped while he was putting up ridiculous personal numbers, throwing off tackles. Like he's been trying to carry this team.
Yeah, but I don't see Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh look like they're on their downward spiral for some reason.
Agreed.
Pittsburgh doesn't look as aggressive. I don't see T.J. Watt really. I don't know. It's just something about it because I think they lost like 2 of the 4 last games. Some ridiculous thing.
3 straight losses.
Yeah, something is going on in Pittsburgh, but I don't know what it is. It's like the energy is not there. I don't have.
In their defense, those are really good teams. They had 3 rough matchups. I mean, it was the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Eagles.
Yeah.
They've had a rough fucking schedule.
I'm saying, if you got Burrow going to put up 400, I mean,
It's not going to get any easier.
Yeah. And we talk about Darnold's weapons. Burrow's got them too. Like Burrow's elite, and he's got weapons. T. Higgins, Ja'Marr Chase, Mike Gesicki is solid and doing the gritty. Chase Brown has come on, second-year running back. So
I love that our litmus test for how well that team is clicking is how many people are doing the gritty during games. Like Oh, Joe Burrow did the gritty. They're good. They're
Yeah.
happy. They're meshing.
But I'm telling you, the Bengals have that pedigree. They have that history. They've beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead in the playoffs. They've beat the Bills. I believe that was in Buffalo in the playoffs. They're not afraid of Baltimore. They're not afraid of Pittsburgh. So the AFC needs to be very worried about, and we've seen it before, where a team sneaks in as the 6 or the 7 seed, playing hot, and goes on a run, goes on a deep playoff run. It'll depend on their defense if they can stop anybody, but they're scary for sure. Um, so yeah, no one wants to see the Dolphins. And yeah, if the Bengals knock out the Broncos, that'd be cool.
We're done with that. That's fine. I I feel like Joe Burrow deserves a shot. Like, not that Bo Nix and the Broncos don't, but just like Joe's been here and he's been working his ass off for a while. Like, I feel like not that his window
Well,
is closing, but
if the Broncos won on Saturday night, case closed. We
yeah,
wouldn't even be talking about this.
exactly. Like, I have a harder time rooting for them. Like, you dropped a game to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's on a hot streak. Like, let him keep the streak going.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you
So
want to talk about your Bears real quick, just so I can
yeah,
talk
we can
the
talk about it.
smallest
I
amount of
mean,
shit.
that
Both of those
was
teams are eliminated. I know. Seattle at the Bears, horrible game, slowest game I've ever witnessed. I know we kind of touched this game on the last episode. I just want to point out, do you remember at the beginning of the season when Caleb Williams called the punter and he said, "Don't worry, we're not going to need you to punt very much." The
he
punter,
forgot he was going with the Bears.
3,209 punt yards for the punter. Caleb Williams, 2,937 passing yards. It just fucking cracks me up. Like, don't talk shit. It was like Fred Warner when Dan Campbell before the game was like, "Yeah, we're gonna bring everybody out to the West Coast." And Fred Warner's like, "Why? You gonna come out here and get your asses kicked?" "Oh, I'm sorry, San Francisco. Did you win that game?" Like, don't run your mouth. You just jinx yourself.
Well, yeah. The Bears, I mean, what can you say about the Bears? They're trash. Sell the team, fire everybody. You lose 6-3. You can't even manage the clock. You had a chance to beat the Seahawks. Terrible. I don't want to talk about the Bears anymore. I don't have the energy for it.
So you're wearing your Fire Everyone shirt. Do you think they make those in Patriots colors? Because there were some Fire Mayo chants going on as they got their asses kicked by the Chargers.
Yeah. John, how do you feel about that? 1 year. He's only had 1 year. Do you think Gerard Mayo deserves, a couple years of the rebuilding team?
Well, personally, yes. I always have a lot of respect for Gerard Mayo. I think that he has a probability of being a good coach, and I think it's not fair to give someone 1 year to
Yeah.
Yeah.
really your own squad, especially with the guys they had on the roster as quarterbacks. You got young guys at quarterback. You got no consistent running game, really. Your defense now, I think one thing is being a defensive coach, your defense got to be better, though. That's one thing that kind of bothers me when you don't have to have great players on the defense for your defense to be good. And I'm just being real. Like if they just got to be in the right places. You got to learn how to blitz. You got to do certain things. So the
Learn how
defense,
to read.
the defense not being good bothers me. But offensively, they just stink. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to I can't sugarcoat it. You can't sugarcoat how bad they look. Every now and then you'll see a great play, and you're like, yay, but then it's just like, okay, it's terrible. And I'm not sure, like I was saying about having that having the players being able to follow you. I don't know if he has that yet. So that's what I'm saying. For me personally, I can see him being gone, but I would like him to get one more year. And I don't know but I don't know if they want to sacrifice that 1 year, and they can't get Belichick back because he has a job.
Yeah, and if they do fire him, he's partially a fall guy because the GM made a terrible trade at the draft. He easily
Yeah.
could have had Lad McConkey. They came away with Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, who have a combined 12 catches this year. Meanwhile, McConkey looks like a number one receiver in LA. Stevenson's been fumbling the ball all year.
Well, quick question though. Didn't they say before the game that they were gonna start Gibson and then Stevenson started?
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
That was so weird because I remember thinking, why the fuck would you like
Yeah.
Stevenson has been bothering me for weeks. They're like, no, we're gonna go with Gibson, and then they lined up and it was not Gibson, and that was
There's
fucking weird.
There's something. There's a disconnect going on
Yeah.
there. I don't. Who knows?
Maybe
But
he was nauseous before the game and he was in the locker room puking or something. I don't know, but it was just like, yeah, we're not going to start him. Just kidding. He's out there. And I was like, what the fuck was that?
well, Saquon Barkley, only needs 101 yards to pass Eric Dickerson. A record that's been standing forever. Um,
They're sitting him though. He said he's not playing.
yeah, that sucks. Is
Also,
that unfair, John? If you were about to break your record, would you be pissed off about that?
Only thing I can say is if they win a championship, it won't matter. But
Yeah,
so you got to look in your back of your mind, like 20 years from now, will it haunt me that I
yeah,
didn't play in that game and kind of think. I think it's a lot of stuff that people, because I know for me personally, I'm missing games from injury and stuff, or like even playing. Like I remember one game I had 3.5 sacks in the first half, and I just sat out the second half. Now I'm like, damn, I should have stayed in. I might have got a couple more sacks, and then I could have had like 30. So if you're okay with saying that, I gave it my best shot at it. He had 16 games. I had 16 games. I
yeah,
started in 2000. So if I break the record with 17, it won't feel the same. If you're okay with that personally, but if I was an old lineman, or if I was I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and try it. Let's get him the first quarter, because he usually breaks about a 50 or a 60 here, and we got a
yeah.
chance.
Break one run.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you're in the books.
there was a video, I think it was four games ago, where they zoomed in on them in the sidelines, and the coach was like, "Hey, I know you're 13 short of your personal best in a game. You want to
Yeah.
get back
yeah.
out there?" And he's like, "No, let the youngins eat." So
Hmm.
maybe for him, all he cares about at this point is championships. But I think personal best in a game and most all-time yards are very
Very different.
different things. Like your
Yeah.
personal best, who the fuck cares? Like
Yeah.
that's fine. That's just for him. But that record has held for 40 years.
Doesn't that
Yeah.
kind of, cause think about Genty. Like Genty was 28 years short. Like it's
Yeah.
like he didn't have to play in the bowl game. He didn't win the Heisman. So for him, I think it was just like, if I get this,
Yeah.
I can have this on my.
This
But
will be my crown.
Saquon is such a great player, and he's going to go down probably a Hall of Famer easily.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things in his career. That's what my biggest goal. You know what I mean? Like, because my biggest goal, my goal was never to lead the league in sacks. I just want to average 10 sacks a game. I'm 10 sacks a year. Like, I never wanted to, beat the seven sack in the game record, because I felt like that was his, and I didn't really want it. It's just like weird things. So he might feel that same way. He might don't want to be put down in that same light.
And then also think if he had done it in week 17, then the argument would forever be like, well, he had an extra game. Like Homeboy only did it in 16. He had to take 17. So I feel
Yeah.
like if he had done it last week, then sure. Like if last week was a game that didn't matter to them and he had the opportunity to play or be benched and he was in the same situation, he probably would have asked to play. But this
Yeah.
week, he's already passed the 16 game cutoff. So I feel like for him, it would cheapen it to need an extra game to beat the record.
Well, and Dickerson needed 2 extra games to beat OJ Simpson's record. So, that happens. But I know Saquon probably wants to break that record, but to me, I think the greatest award that you can give Saquon is not to play for the Giants anymore. So he should be pretty happy with that.
He should be happy.
Yeah.
That game it's so embarrassing for Dallas, 41-7. Like,
Yeah.
man,
Terrible. It sounds like they're going to be bringing back Mike McCarthy, too. He's got the vote of confidence. Uh,
how the fuck, like he couldn't do hardly anything with Aaron Rodgers. Like, what are
yeah.
we doing?
Jerry likes him. I mean, I don't know. I think he looks around and says it could be worse.
No, I think it's just like when people say he shouldn't. Like, you can't do that. I think it's that ego thing. Like, if everybody would say, "Oh, great decision, Jerry. Great decision."
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
fucking. They were fucking with him in New York. Like,
Yeah,
good
the
job.
Eagles.
Like,
Yeah.
he had to throw his hands
That's
up
Keep
and
doing what
like,
you're
"Yeah,
doing.
what you do here, man? Great. You're great.
You're
Keep
doing
making."
great, bud. Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, I love Mike McCarthy in Dallas because that's Lambeau Field South. Like Green Bay wins there all the time. So it's working for me. But those poor players and fans of that Dallas team, like last year they made the postseason. It was good. We did a bunch of dumb shit this season. And I mean, 7-9. Man,
Yeah.
there's more talent on that team than this record. Like I have been laughing. Somebody put together a low light reel of CJ Gardner-Johnson tripping all over his own feet, trying to cover people, and it's just like a montage of him missing wide open receiver. I was cracking up because he is good. Like it's not that he's bad, but like when he misses hard. Like he'll like the receivers. This man will go flying past the receiver, so he commits to it. But I gotta
You know
find
what he is?
that reel.
I
It
mean,
was funny as hell.
he's like Eddie Jackson. He's a ball hawk. He's not a tackler. He's a ball hawk. And then he's gonna try to hit you hard. He's either gonna blow you up or he's gonna miss completely.
I
Like
know, but when he misses, he's like 10 feet. Like he flew past like Superman. Like it's so funny. Like I appreciate the commitment. Like, but just watching just pick video after video of him just flying past receivers was cracking me up.
But
Uh,
he had 2 picks in this game and his first career pick six as well. So
Good
shout
for
out.
him. I know.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking shit.
That
It was just
was funny though.
entertaining. Like I
Yeah.
like the commitment, man. Like he goes for it.
John, so you've been following Mike Evans closely. You want to see him what record is he trying to break again? Because he's close to doing it.
Here's 1,000 yards.
Yeah. What is it? 10 years?
11.
11? Wow. And that ties Jerry Rice, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's tied right now with 10 years straight. So if he get like now he missed games this year, but I don't think people understand how important he is to Baker Mayfield's
Oh,
success.
so much.
Like
Yeah.
and you know that one catch that Baker missed him on, I still thought he was gonna catch it though. But I think he's under 100 yards that he needs, so I think he can possibly get it. Hopefully they won't well, they need to win, you know, to go to well, they're going to playoffs. I think. I can't see Atlanta unless something crazy happens. Atlanta wins and they
I
lose.
was rooting for the Atlanta comeback against the Commanders until I realized that Atlanta winning
You
knocked
definitely
Tampa Bay
told me
out.
that.
And I was like, oh, wait, no. Abort. And I was like, no,
He was all
Commanders.
confused after
Hold on, I
that game.
was gonna go for Atlanta. No, I ain't do Tampa.
So I was messaging Alex and I was like, yo, I'm rooting for Atlanta. I love this comeback. They've got a defense today. This is great. And then like the fourth quarter is winding up and I was like, oh, fuck, no, I can't do this.
Atlanta's got too many favorite teams. That's the problem.
I just Baker Mayfield has been busting his ass. Like Mike Evans, like we have seen this team overcome some massive injuries. Like I
Yeah.
have Baker Mayfield running through tackles and just shaking kids off like they're a toddler grabbing his ankle. Like I am so impressed with like and like so this blowout, the Tampa Bay, so 48-14. 2 years ago, Baker Mayfield was a scout team defensive player for the Carolina.
Yeah. Yep. I
Like
remember when he was a backup for the Rams, came in for like a game. Like, yeah, he was buried
he
at
was
one
playing
point.
fucking defense for this team, and then to go
Yeah.
in and like have them come into your house and just whoop their asses. Like good for
Yep.
Baker, man. Like the way he has kept focused on his goal and not let any of his weird little sidebars and side quests that he's been sent on like derail his career. Like he had 5 touchdowns and only 5 incompletions in this game. Like how
So
do
much
you
fun to
not
watch.
root for him?
Yeah.
Be the new league now though, like quarterbacks starting off on other teams and then going other places. That's what it looks like. Because you look at Detroit, you look at the Vikings, you look at even looking at LA. If you think about it though, he started in Detroit. Stafford started in
Yeah.
Detroit, and he came to another team and
Look
he
at
ended up
how much Geno bounced around.
Geno Smith. You know, it's like so many of these guys. But I think it's just the experience they get, and also it's the maturity that you know. I guess Tom Brady was talking about how a lot of these guys they just throw them in when they're young. And they don't really learn a quarterback, and I think playing backup, they get the opportunity to learn because think about it, you get to play Tom Brady in practice. You get to play, you know, you get to see all these different defenses. Whether you're good or bad at defense, you get to watch all the stuff. You get to learn football again, being a backup sometimes. So, but if you look at the league, it's literally like a lot of only person that you really are solidified with is Mahomes. Everybody else pretty much can go right now. Well, Burrows, you know, bro, there's certain guys. I'm just, you
Yeah.
know, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, you can't give up on these guys too quickly. And it reiterates that don't give up on like these guys like Drew Lock, maybe Zach Wilson at some point, Jameis Winston, guys that, you know, just stick around. And I think what it
I didn't trust
prioritizes.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, me neither. I was done with him. I was done with golf.
I was mocking Minnesota for that one. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Sam Darnold's gonna teach JJ. What's he gonna teach him? How to throw a pick? Like, that is
But
my bad. I apologize.
situation matters so much. The right coaching staff around you, the right weapons around you, and then a team that believes in you too. I think that's what Goff had, is a team that gave him a true shot, and like they kind of rebuild up his confidence. And so yeah, you're seeing that a lot. It's cool to see. I'm rooting for this Tampa Bay team like crazy. They're so much fun to watch. Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving, and Jalen
I was just
McMillan,
gonna say Bucky Irving was
He's
so good
awesome.
in this game.
Yes,
so
he
Um,
good.
I didn't see Tampa Bay as having one of my favorite 1-2 punches at running back coming into this
Yeah,
season, but they were
yeah.
trying to lessen Rashad White's load a little bit coming into this one. Irving was ridiculous. He had a 34-yard run, a 42-yard catch. Like he finished the game with 113 rushing yards and 77 receiving yards. And then he
Mm-hmm.
left in the third quarter. Like he put up almost 200 yards before the end of the third quarter. He's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go rest now. Like, good for him.
They're so cool. They're so much fun to
Did you hear
watch.
the Bucky chants?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
stadium. I love that. That makes me miss when John Kuhn played for the Packers, and every time he touched the ball, everyone would just go, "Ooh!" Like that shit's so fun. Like I love me a player chant.
John, that Bucks team, they're gonna be dangerous in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think like I said, for me personally, I wasn't a real Baker Mayfield fan at first when he was in Cleveland, but watching him now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident he'll lose. I'm a big Todd Bowles fan, as y'all know. Todd was my
Yeah,
coach my rookie year. He was my coach my last year when I
nice.
played in Arizona, and I think he is becoming the kind of coach now, because think about it, he was with the Jets first, and I don't think he was really ready for that kind of team. But I think with
Yeah.
Tampa being on the Bruce Arians and them winning that championship, he knows that he can do it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
you can see the players are so professional now. I think that's one thing that Baker brought in: professionalism. He brought in
Mhm.
the toughness and professional. He brought the old Bucks mentality back.
Yeah.
Like it ain't about like the quarterback. No, the quarterback can get hit. We gonna knock it. If you think about Mike Allstott, you got a Mike Allstott as a quarterback now. I think it's just defense, because the defense is good, but it's not as great as it was in the past. But I
Yeah.
think Baker being able to throw 3, 4, 5 touchdowns in the game is amazing. And like I said, I think his attitude is literally that team's chemistry right now.
Yeah. Yeah. They took on his identity, playing with swag.
He's
Yeah.
feisty with his weird little sayings. I love the players making fun of it. Like they had someone come in an interview, like, "What's the weirdest thing Baker Mayfield says?" And they're like, "Slam me up." Like he
Sign
says
me
some weird shit.
up. How
I do
about
think it's funny
yeah,
that
go
Atlanta and Tampa Bay are like scrapping over that last spot in the playoffs. They have the easiest fucking last week game. Like
Yeah.
these
That's why Tampa
assholes.
Bay is probably
They're
gonna do
both
it.
at home. They get to play
Yeah.
the Saints, who got their asses kicked by a 3-12 Raiders the week after putting up 0 points in Green Bay. And
Yep.
then the Falcons get to play the Panthers. Like, ugh, y'all
Yeah.
suck.
I don't
I don't
They're
think
even
both gonna win.
I think the Panthers can possibly win. And I'm just saying, hear
yeah.
me out. I know it sounds bad.
Yeah. They're
I want
playing
the
better.
Panthers to win.
Like D Alford is shitty. Like D Alford horrible. If you watch the game, D Alford playing against Commanders, first of all, he got shined on in Minnesota when he was like, it make no sense. Like he got no kind of ball awareness. Like it was just here.
That Minnesota game was bad.
Watch the
It was
Commanders
rough.
game. I watched Commander game. I'm looking like, dude, what is going on? Watch the game like, what? Somebody like, what's wrong with 20? I said, that's D Alford. Like, I don't know what's like, he is
I think
horrible.
he needs an eye exam.
They're watching tape.
Was that Zacchaeus running all over him?
No, man.
So rough.
But yeah. So Tampa Bay, if they have a home playoff game, no one wants to go in there and play them. Another thing I like about the Bucks, Sterling Shepard was like done. He was like retired. Tampa Bay brings him on, and he's been a key contributor this year and might be in the playoffs too. So, yeah, we don't need to talk about Raiders Saints. Brock Bowers is unguardable. He's breaking records with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, and
Crazy. Good for him.
yeah.
The only thing I want to talk about in the Titans Jags is their awful quarterback room. Like they benched Will Levis because he had too many turnovers, and
Oh
Mason
my
Rudolph
God.
Christmas week comes in and has 3. Like, ew, no.
Yeah. That's
They're
why I
rough.
picked the Jags. Oh, real quick, John, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Week 17 king, week 17 champion, Alex Leak dominated the picks this week. Finally got the better of Amanda.
Took 17 weeks, you know.
It
16
Saving that
straight
for
weeks of
last,
me
man.
kicking his ass or
Yes.
tying, and then he finally had a comeback. So
was
my
my
league is only
birthday week. I had
26.
to show out on my birthday week, so.
Yeah, that's true. That was your birthday present. I just made some dumb picks just for you.
No, I mean, I actually had a good week. I only picked only two
You're
losses.
wrong. Yep,
Yeah,
you did good.
that's shocking.
14 to 16. He's like, he said that's shocking. He's like,
I'm
it's
not
a
used
Christmas
to
miracle.
Oh, I got a messenger quick. Hey John, check this out. I was
it.
He was fucking stoked.
hey, I like congratulations, bro.
I was so happy.
No, he really was happy.
This
Amanda,
is the highlight of his season. He's a fucking Bears fan. They're like
Amanda's been picking like 80% right, kicking my ass all season long.
I think I'm 74. This week brought me down a little bit. I had what, four wrong,
But
five
still
wrong
very
picks?
impressive.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so I'm still down like 25 games, so it's okay.
26.
Yeah.
You need a 3. Don't give
Okay.
yourself 4, okay? I'm not gifting you a free game. That's not how this shit works.
I'm thinking ahead to week 18. You know I'm going to finish strong now, Amanda. I'm going to roll this into the playoffs.
Speaking of finishing strong, let's circle back to these most sacked quarterback in NFL history, Aaron Rodgers. Just really put up a fight in this one.
40-0 at one point.
Bad. Everybody left the game. Like, I don't care about those 14 points. Like that. They put up 14 in the garbagest of garbage time. Like those.
Taylor came in.
The game was over. Like Aaron Rodgers benched himself. Like no.
You see, Alex, I told you, because you said you didn't even have time to watch that time. I was like, Sauce Gardner came out and said, "Look, we played these guys earlier, and we actually had a chance to win. Even last year we had a chance to win. Now this year we just get demolished." He was calling people out. Like people done checked out. Like he's like literally some guys are already checked out.
I would love to give him a new home if he needs rehomed.
Who, Sauce?
Yeah. Oh, Green Bay will take him.
They need so they could be hiring. Rex Ryan is interviewing over there. Our guy Ron Rivera is interviewing for the Jets.
I don't hate Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
We should get him on. See
we're trying. I'm sending them emails.
I would love to hear what his plan for fixing that Jets team is, because
I don't know where you begin.
Lowest QBR recorded in the past 1,537 NFL games.
Who had that?
Aaron Rodgers. His QBR was 1.3.
That's what happens when you go to the Jets. The Jets are just.
It's not just the Jets, though. It
didn't used to be that way. Back when you played there, John, it wasn't as bad, but lately.
Me? Hey, when I got to the Jets, I thought I was gonna be like, this is because first of all, I didn't even know who the Jets team was. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought I got to the Giants. I was like, yeah, I'm going to the Giants.
Oh no.
I knew who Curtis Martin was, but I didn't know anything. You gotta understand, I only played 1 year of high school football. So I was learning football while I was learning football. Like literally like football. Like I'm learning like, okay, this team is this team, okay, this team, okay, this college is good. South Carolina sucked. I didn't know that. I went to came here. A lot of stuff I'm learning that as I'm going. So when I got to the NFL, it was just like, because first of all, they was on Hofstra campus. Y'all don't understand how terrible this was, man. It was the worst. We stayed in a dorm during training camp. Like I'm talking about hard. It was like marble floors, a cot, and that was it. Like literally, this is Hofstra.
You were at boot camp.
Oh no, it's the worst thing ever. I was like, this can't be life. I was like,
that can't be serious.
Oh, it was. I love Long Island. I love Long Island as Long Island. But the places to stay down there for the prices and stuff, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. This can't be an NFL team. I was ready to go back to college. I was gonna redeclare how they said it. I'm redeclaring. I'm going back.
You were supposed to have made it at that point. You're like, yeah, I'm in the NFL. Fuck.
That's
Damn, that sucks.
Staying at Hofstra in the dorms. How about, so we don't need to talk about Colts Giants, but how about Drew Lock? Throws for 309 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Drew Lock trying to,
He
make
wants a
over
new
his career.
home.
Yeah, he's
Mm.
trying. Neighbors went crazy.
I was
The
gonna say
Colts
he and
defense,
Neighbors connected so fucking well.
the Colts defense, in my opinion, quit though. Like they weren't tackling. Like this was bad.
And that was another preseason game for me. I was like, I ain't watching this shit.
Yeah.
I'm like some bull job. I'm like some stuff that like it's like some stuff. Like, I understand why they black out games now. I didn't understand when I was younger, but like now that's a waste of
We
TV,
should
man.
have blacked that one out. Like, we'll
Uh,
just call it a tie.
yeah,
Eliminated teams shouldn't even get like broadcast time at this point.
no, you can only see it in neighboring cities. That's it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. Like no.
Amanda was excited that Flacco was back, but she
Yeah,
didn't know the turnovers were coming with him.
I just like seeing him on the field. Like I like having Grandpa out there. Like
He's like
it's
50
nice.
now.
Again, two interceptions and a fumble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. He can check into the nursing home now.
Yeah, quietly saying it's time to go.
I mean, last season he had a comeback. This
Yeah.
season,
So the Colts were still technically alive, fighting for something. They allowed 45 points to the Fighting Drew Locks. I mean, fire Shane Steichen, right? The Colts need to hit a reset. I think. Like, I don't know how you can allow that to happen. So
I'm not a Steichen fan.
me neither.
Just bad player management. Some of the play calls just seem idiotic. Like who called that? Like
Do
it's
Yeah.
y'all
triple
do y'all
coverage instead of hitting our wide open guy over here. Like, ugh.
do you allow Aaron Rodgers one more year or just let it go? Since we're talking
One,
about
one more year,
do you
So
do
man.
you
you
want
He
him to
should
go to the
go.
Colts?
how do you feel about that, Amanda?
I think I feel like he doesn't give a shit. Like there was a couple games this season when like we had classic Aaron Rodgers back, but I just feel like he's done it. He didn't think the team was going anywhere, so he just didn't have his heart in it. I
You gotta
feel
live in
like
the dark.
you
You
put
got
him behind a good O-line where he feels protected. You give him a coach he actually likes and who he feels like the team is going somewhere. Like what team is built but needs a quarterback? Because put him there and I think he'd be fine.
Real quick, hot take.
Uh-oh.
Look for this offseason, look for the 49ers to bring in a veteran. I think that Kyle Shanahan is getting tired of some mistakes and some of the play of Brock Purdy. Look for if they can swing it, Kirk Cousins to potentially go to the Niners. Kyle Shanahan has always wanted Kirk Cousins on his team.
I like that.
And then Aaron Rodgers from San Francisco, from that area, I could
He would
easily
fucking
see that.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be a
So,
perfect situation for him. A team that's
yeah.
pretty much together.
Yeah.
They just got beat up with injuries. I think were the 49ers healthy, they'd be in the postseason right now.
Yeah.
Like Green Bay
Absolutely.
would not be in and the 49ers would be. Like
Yeah. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Saturday games, I mean, the Rams got to win. The Rams, so they are what? They're on a 5-game winning streak. About to be 6 if they can beat the Seahawks. John, how scary is this Rams team if they come in on a 6-game winning streak into the playoffs with a home playoff game? Stafford, McVay, Puka, Cooper Kupp, they could be a threat.
No, I don't see it. That's all I gotta say. I don't see it.
the only one of those wins that counts was the Bills, and that was 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, the NFC is just too strong right now. I think the NFC has way better teams. Even if they do make a push, I don't see a playoff. Like, nah, I can't.
No, they're not contenders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They might be able to steal a win though. They beat so the Vikings have only lost 2 games all year. The Rams beat the Vikings
If the
earlier
Rams
this
still
year.
had, Rams still had Aaron Donald, I would put them maybe, but they don't have a defensive person. They don't have anybody on defense that can really change the game like that. So and it's
It's
crazy.
a collective.
Like one defensive player can make a whole team like that, but he
Yeah.
was that kind of guy. And since they don't have that kind of influence on defense, which can build everybody else around it, I don't see it. Like they
Now,
just look dead to me.
yeah, they have to be pretty much all offense. Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
excited about them a month ago when they beat the Bills. The Bills defense kind of no-showed that week. But that was a 44-42 blowout or shootout. But I just haven't seen any, like they barely beat the Jets. Like I'm nothing they're doing right now. Like, okay, you beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been falling off. You only put up 13 points one week, 19 points, 12 points. you cannot beat a postseason team by putting up 15 or less points. It's just not going to work.
I would love to see the Vikings or the Lions have to go to LA, but as it's looking right now, if the Packers beat the Bears, then the Rams are going to be the 3 seed. I believe that's how it goes. I'm not sure, but so it's looking like Commanders at Rams will be the playoff game.
I got
And that could be a fun matchup. I don't know which way I would go with that one. Bengals beat the Broncos. That was a great game. Bengals, they're looking scary. I'd love to see them in the playoffs. Chargers are looking good.
I'm just so excited about this last week of football, like figuring out Tampa Bay, Atlanta, like the rankings and stuff, and then the Detroit, Minnesota game. I'm so stoked about those. Like the AFC is settled. Like
the weakest team coming into the playoffs, the Houston Texans,
Green
just
Bay.
put up 2 points against the Ravens.
Fair.
John, what do you think of this Texans team? They're going to have a home playoff game.
Well, they just didn't look prepared for that game. Everything looked off. I honestly feel like maybe he hurt himself a little bit, and it was, he just did. He looked a little. He did get hit one time, and the game kind of went out. But I think he just tried to tough it out, But Baltimore just came to play, and it was just a better. It's just period blank that you can see that he's still a quarterback that's learning. The defense played decent. I mean, they did what they could do, but Baltimore is nice. And this really questions about the MVP situation of who is the best player. Because, Burrows is putting up MVP numbers, but his record is, not the same, not something you can like, okay, he was the best player. I mean, Aaron Rodgers can do it. He can not have a great record and get MVP, but that's Aaron Rodgers. So.
Yeah, but there wasn't anyone neck and neck with him that season. Like his personal numbers were hundreds better than any other quarterback. Like, so if you're neck and neck with other quarterbacks and they've got ridiculous records and are going to the postseason, I just don't think you're in the running.
Correct.
I just think these 2 teams are going the opposite direction. Like the Texans are probably going to get beat right away.
So are the Steelers and so are the Packers. Those are my one and done teams. And
I don't put the Packers in as much as the Steelers and Texans. The Packers are more dangerous than those 2, in my opinion.
The Packers,
they're not as rock bottom. You're just a fan, and you're like, mad that you lost to the Vikings.
Stupid mistake. Like every loss was like one bad offsides call. This Minnesota one was a little bullshitty, but our first matchup with them, like there wasn't any bullshit there. Like we didn't show up on defense. We don't play the first half of games. Like I don't think they're quite there yet. Like I am all for Green Bay making a good postseason run next year, but I think they're a little immature still. Some really big dumb mistakes. And then what the fuck is coaching letting the offense take off the first half of games? I don't.
I'm looking for Ravens and Bills are my 2 AFC teams. Yeah. If either of them can beat the Chiefs, these 2 teams can win the whole thing. And America would go crazy if the Bills got back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the Lamar Derrick Henry combo, they're so fun to watch.
I want the Bills to go. I liked the Lions, but I'm worried about their injuries. But a Ravens-Eagles all-ground game, Super Bowl would be those would be ridiculous. Like that matchup would be so fun. Yeah,
that would be awesome. John, do you have a favorite in the AFC? Do you like the Ravens? How do you see this going?
I'm tell people just like I told them last year, man. Until Kansas City get beat, I can't. They're the best team for me.
Yeah,
it's just even the whole year it's just been wishy-washy. Everybody say they got lucky here, they got lucky here. The last couple games they've been playing phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean,
they're heating up at the right time.
But honestly, it looked like they can be better. That's what scares me, because if you watched on Christmas Day, it was just like, okay, all right. Well, I'm looking like, nah, they're good, and I'm like, but it's like a relaxed good. It's not like they're like we're good and hopefully nobody get hurt. They're like just like, okay, yeah, we're ready. Wait for the playoffs. We got like 3 games. Win Super Bowl. We good. Like that. That's the kind of confidence that when you seen Brady, like everybody was like, oh, well,
they're so casual about it.
Yes. Everybody thought that, this team, New England's not going to be in it this year. That they're not playing well. They're but then the playoffs come, and then you see that real team come out. You see the Travis Kelce's getting these 100-yard games. You see I mean, it's just like for me, it's just tough to say this team can't be like
Well, yeah,
he
and
played bad and win, man. I'm like, come on.
that's kind of my thing too, is they never seemed concerned. Like they would have to come back to win a game or block a field goal to miss a game. They didn't seem upset or nervous. They were just like, oh no, well, it'll work out. Like they've got so much faith in their ability to make a Super Bowl run. Like whatever, we can almost lose a close game. Like we don't have to try during the regular season. So they're just like squeaking by, just so relaxed and comfortable. Like it's
It's
annoying. Like
just
good for them for having that
it,
confidence, but
yeah, it's crazy that they were able to do as well as they did without key contributors. Getting Isaiah Pacheco back, and now you've got him and Kareem Hunt who can
who's
run the
good.
ball effectively. And they said a big thing is they getting Hollywood Brown back has
Mhm.
put everyone back in their rightful place now. You don't have Xavier Worthy running Hollywood Brown routes. Now he can be the slot. You got Hollywood Brown. You got D Hop. You got Kelsey. Everything's falling into line. So I agree. They're going to be very tough to beat. But I said this in the preseason. I've said this before during the season. I'm going to say it now just to reiterate. The Chiefs are not going to three-peat. I've never seen a three-peat in my life except for in the NBA, never in football. I said Georgia wasn't going to three-peat. They didn't do it. Chiefs aren't doing it either. Give me the Ravens or the Bills. I don't know if that's my heart talking or my head, but
Oh, I am all aboard I want a Tampa Bay Buffalo Super Bowl so bad, super bad. There we go. Just
if
talking
the
about,
Bucks go, that would be
dude,
awesome.
I would lose my shit.
NFC's more wide open, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Well, Alex asked me, he's like, who do you love more, Baker or Josh? And I was like, oh, I don't.
Don't make me choose.
I was like, don't make me choose. I love them.
She'll love the most.
I picked Baker. It's very close though. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so excited for this postseason. I would love to hear all of our listeners' Super Bowl matchups. Like,
Yeah.
who's your dream matchup, and who do you think is actually going? Because those tend to be very different things. Like Alex is less logical with his picks, which is why I kick his ass because
No, it's very
he gets
logical.
emotion. No, no, Alex gets emotional with his picks. He's like, I'm not picking the fucking Lions.
Well,
Well,
Tennessee.
that's true.
I would like to see Kansas City in it, but maybe not win, and the NFC
Yeah.
win it. But I want to see them at least get to the point that they could have done the three-peat because it has never been done. So the excitement for everyone will be there. Like, oh, we're gonna, everybody gonna be like, we want to watch Kansas City lose this. So I want
Yeah,
to
I was
see.
gonna say
I would
people are
like.
only gonna watch hoping they're losing though.
Yes, it's better TV. Like you be like, oh my god, or we can watch something that's historic that
Yeah, that's never happened. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that for me is kind of like that. Like I want to see that. I like seeing the history made. I like seeing the new stuff. I like seeing like, and if Mahomes wins, they're gonna be like, okay, he's better than Brady, and then we got some more shit to talk about.
If he wins it, he
Yeah.
doesn't fucking retire. Like, no. Like you
Yeah.
got the three-peat. Go away. Give somebody else a shot. Like
Well,
you win 4 in a row. I'm quitting football. Fuck this. Like,
All
no.
right.
and you think about what it would do for Lamar's legacy if Lamar gets a championship, right? And he said that from day one. That's all he cared about. He's like, forget the MVPs, forget all this other stuff. I just want to win a championship.
Yeah.
And to go with the season he's had and the unanimous MVP and winning it last year, like so. And
Well,
I'm a
him or
Derrick Henry
Josh
fan,
Allen. Like,
Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton. So I think I'm all in with the Ravens, but I like the Bills as well. It's
yeah.
going to be a fun playoffs, but we'll be back next week to do our official playoff preview. We're working to get some big name guests on for the playoffs as well. John is going to be with us for the playoffs. Hugh making our picks, so it's going to be awesome stuff. We appreciate you, John, you making the time. Amanda, with the hectic holidays and all that, but
we wilded, man.
good shit. The Sports League podcast is at its peak right now, and we're going to keep it rolling. We appreciate all you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know who your picks are, like Amanda suggested, and have a great week, guys. Good shit, and peace out.